In this video, I will be sharing the process I went through to get from this to this. What's up and welcome to Julian's Jam. My name is Julian, and in today's video we are going to paint a character. I wanted to participate in a thing called Character Design Challenge. It is, I believe, a Facebook group. They create a character design challenge every month of the year. Lots of people just come together, they create art around the common theme, and this theme was the Wizards Conclave. That was pretty awesome for me because I'm building an illustration portfolio for Wizards of the Coast right now, and what's lacking in there is character illustration. So this is the perfect theme for me, so I gave it a shot, and this is a video about the process. One little accident happened throughout the video and the recording and the process of this, where I thought I cannot post this video, but I made it anyway. Here's the video. It's not perfect, you know, when you do a project like this, things don't go smoothly. You know, that's just part of it, and I'm here to share it anyways, because that's just life, baby. First things first, we create a sketch. Now, the sketch is super rough, but it tells me a lot of things about this character already. He or she is holding some kind of magical item, they're wearing robes, there's some kind of skull mask thing going on, and there's definitely a nature theme here as well, with like roots or some kind of antlers. His hand is weird and root-like, or maybe it's a skeleton hand. I like to keep things loose and explore the character as I layer the line art over more line art over more line art, all the while getting closer to a cleaner and more refined version of the character, both visually and design-wise. So I'm just putting in new lines here over the old sketch again and again. I can do this maybe 3-4 times until I reach a level where I feel comfortable painting it. The dark shadow parts here really help me to not just put the detail everywhere, but to keep it simple in some areas where there's going to be shadow most likely later, or just not that many details. So I keep it very, very simple. And then again, just more lines everywhere, trying to play with the design and try to really figure out what goes where, basically. And at this point, I'm looking at very little reference, but when it comes to painting it and getting material stuff and lighting, I look at a lot of reference. And for this hourglass, for example, I looked up some hourglasses. So he's got something to do with time. I really like the setting of a chronomancer here. He's got this hourglass thing going on. He's kind of a lich guy. So he's escaping death. He can do some kind of magic with time. That was the base theme I was going for, and trying to explore that and try to see how I can visually communicate that design. This dark environment here really helps me play with my values more and lets me judge the values that I do already have a little better. I know the character design challenge isn't really meant to be done as an illustration and probably more of a character design only, but I'm an illustrator after all. I gotta paint the whole thing. These straps I've put in on his antlers is sort of a reference to the Japanese omikuji, which are fortune strips which you can get at many shrines throughout Japan. And when the prediction you get is a bad one, you usually leave it behind and tie it to a tree or someplace they have set up. It's just a fun thought experiment, again, sort of time related. Maybe this character can port through time and space with his magic, but then and again he needs to rest and becomes this enshrined deity that people go to and venerate and maybe get their fortune foretold by an omikuji. And again, just exploring lots of time related things. I put a portal behind him, so I was thinking maybe he's kind of conjuring this portal with this hourglass staff. Hourglass staff, just a very classic Guild Wars 1 reference. I love to put something like that into an illustration whenever I can, but in the end, it doesn't make the cut, unfortunately. But I go with some kind of like a waist he's in, so he's just portaled there, or maybe he's just going to portal away. There's stars behind him. It all gives it like some kind of... It gives it a lot of mood and some character, puts him into a scene. Now, we already are deep in the painting stage of this piece here, but the main parts of the image are there, and while I still have lots to figure out at this point, I can now go in and work on some material rendering here on the fur color and everything, really. I jump back and forth from the character to the background to his staff, and I refine the whole thing while I go, which is how I like to work, rather than finishing small areas completely before moving on. So you see me jump around a lot. As I paint, I'm still thinking we can have this fortune strips make up parts of his robes as well. So she's just covered in them, but I later scrapped that idea as well. Without a completed design sketch of these characters, I'm struggling a little bit to put more details in places that I hadn't really planned out that much. One good example of this might be the belt area. I noticed I desperately needed more details here, since above and below that area we have big shadow shapes with not much going on. I needed something to move the eye from his face and collar area down to his robes, and I came up with this brooch design with an ornamental feel to it, something that looks valuable and old and lets me put some nice details and hard edges there. I think it really helps the design, and it's so important to have areas of rest and areas of interest and detail throughout your designs, and this thing is exactly what I needed here. Now I'm putting in more details around his head. It is the focal point, so I want more details there, of course. She's getting kind of a, like, one eye shining as though there's magic going on and she's actively doing something. And I also added this mist around her legs, just to feel, you know, magical. As dumb as that might sound, you have to put in some magical effects if you want to paint a mage or a wizard. I just experiment here with some effects. Maybe the staff, you know, it didn't feel quite right. Maybe some magical effects. I'm thinking of old clocks. I'm looking at clockwork design, but I'm not really feeling it. I do still want to have that theme somehow going on. And what I settled for in the end was some kind of like galaxy, again, time and space, portal. He's already got that background, and that sort of inspired me to change up the staff here. And I think it works really well with the colors and sort of just gives that. I just go deeper into that theme. I add some planets in the background, and it all comes together a little bit. It starts to tell the same story, which is super important. I still ended up having lots of little designs here and there that I really fought for. Like, the whole time I painted this piece, I fought to combine lots of design choices together that you might have not seen together, like with the antlers and then the galaxy stuff and then the portal and then the lich design and then these Japanese influences on the character design and jewelry, the root thing. And there's just a lot of stuff coming together, and that's always the struggle. I want to put in a lot of stuff. I have a lot of ideas. That's basically the challenge. You want to make them work together and feel cohesive. So again, jumping back and forth, I rendered the character out some more, and now I'm painting in the background, just leaning into that theme some more. I thought it would be cool to have the portal show through to the other side so we know where she's portaling to or from. And so I'm introducing this new green color, which looks pretty good to me. I like it. And it sort of adds another color, adds some richness to the piece. Then I thought, like, this pose is just not constructed at all. I had to go in and just do some anatomy on top of that. So I use a big white layer over the painting and go back to line drawing I fix up the arms a little bit, I put some legs down, and now she feels a lot more centered and balanced. But I soon scrapped that idea, and I thought, she's a mage, maybe a lich, maybe some sort of thing in between. Those guys always float around, you know, there's no more walking here, so I adjusted that accordingly. Yesterday, I was trying like my hardest, and I think I was painting until 2 a.m. to just finish my CDC painting. And so I open up Clip Studio, I open up the latest file, and it's a JPEG. So I saved the file as a freaking JPEG. What's most upsetting about that is that I recorded the time lapse with the time lapse function in Clip Studio. So the time lapse of the entire day yesterday, like hours of work, is just gone, which is a bummer. But you get to see the OBS recording of it, where I zoom in and zoom out all the time. So this never happened to me actually, but yeah, make sure you save your files correctly. Alright, now let's keep going. After that little bit of bad news, you get to see the other recording I took, which is just my screen. I flip the canvas, I zoom in and out all the time, it's not the greatest to watch, so I'm really sorry, but this is the way it has to be right now. That's what I get for saving the file as a JPEG. I lose all my painting layers, and I lose my time-lapse. But what we're doing here is just detailing. The video is so fast, oh my god, you can't even see it. But yeah, I just work on everything a little bit, you know. Just like before, I jump around, I add detail here and there, and the painting just gets pushed and pushed and pushed. And this is just my usual messy process. I think about lighting at this point a lot. So I'm thinking that the staff and the magic of the staff is really shining with that blue light, and the blue light's hitting the ropes, and it's hitting the silver skull, and it's hitting his arm. I'm also thinking about the portal being a light source and, you know, spreading the green light around. And then I just also think about this cosmic light that's sort of this purplish, bluish hue that hits everything like sort of passively. Alright, what's up? It's time for some reference pictures. I usually take videos because I can move around, switch around, and see, do different poses at once. And so right now I'm thinking the character is like this. So your body facing is this way. We're looking at the staff. We have the staff in the hand. This is probably the angle. And this is coming back and doing like sort of a summoning hand pose. And so I'm doing that, and I'm getting all the references for all the different hand grips. And then the head going this way, so I can even reference the head for that pose. So that's awesome. And that's the reference video. Alright, with that reference video, I just made my life a lot easier. I can reference my own hands and sort of get a perspective for the head of my character. Super useful stuff, and I don't have to make a ton of photos. I open the video, I skip through it, and I find exactly what I need. At this point, I want to mention PureRef. I use it for every illustration I paint. It is a free tool that lets you create reference boards, arrange your images, and always have them on top of your other windows when you paint. I just love that program. I use it a lot. I'm not sure how much you can tell from the video at this point, so I'm just going to talk about other processes really quick to give you a good idea of how I work, so you can still get some value out of this. Let's talk some layers. I don't love making a ton of layers when I paint digitally, but I do think the non-committal nature of digital painting is one of its greatest advantages. So what you usually see me do is have a layer with, let's say, my character on it, the whole character on one layer, and when I decide to repaint the ropes, for example, I make a new layer, I paint on that, and I switch it on and off, and that way I can compare what changes I made to the older version. So I can switch it on and off, see, is it better, is it worse? It just lets me judge the difference very well, and when I like it, I merge it down, so I go back to just one layer with that character. And I also do the same with the background, so the background is usually merged to one layer. So yeah. The same goes for any layer modes. Make a new layer with overlay, multiply, soft light, whatever. I compare it, I merge it down. And after a couple hours, I may copy my character layer as a backup. That way I can work on a new one, but should I mess up or do something stupid, I still have the other one available to me. You can see the layers still build up. You can see them on the right side here. For some decisions, you know, they just take me some time to commit to, or I might delete them after all, but I'd rather keep painting and being in the moment than making difficult decisions sometimes, so sometimes I just keep going. I think for the ropes here, as you can see, I've had a couple variants, and I just didn't know what to do with the fabric. Should there be some pattern on it, or should it be... You know, there's just so many options. So I painted a couple of them and I decided to stick with one that had some patterns. Now, we only got about a minute left on this painting time lapse, so let's just cut it here and I'll show you the final version. Alright, this is the final painting. This is what I came up with for the challenge. This is my wizard, you know, he's gonna portal in and he's gonna do some crazy magic. He's gonna do some shenanigans and villainous stuff. This is what I came up with. I'm really trying to be more loose lately and to not be like super precise. Like usually I used to paint like every strand in the fur coat, or you know, I paint like every star up here by hand, but I'm trying to use more brushes, be more textury, and I've had a lot of fun doing so. I usually get a lot of like clothing reference and really be in here, but you can see it's super rough and I didn't spend too much time on it. But when you zoom out and take a look at it like this, you can't really tell. I do really enjoy that I don't have to be like squeaky clean about every edge and about everything I do. I found some really cool foliage brushes that I used here in the foreground. It almost seems like they're like taken from a photo selection or something. It's really cool. And then lots of random texture brush assortments down here. I really had fun with that, just making it interesting. This portal has a lot of very hard edges. I'm not sure if I'm like the biggest fan of that, but yeah. And these mega stones kind of floating here. I wanted to take them out. So I was waking up today and I was like, yeah, let's get back into the painting. I had them on one layer, you know, and I was thinking, let's just get rid of that layer, no problem. And then I opened my file and it was a JPEG. And so I would have had to repaint like all the areas and paint that out. And so I just decided to leave them in. But that is the painting, and with the painting we wrap up the videos. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. It's been super fun just trying out this process, trying to do this challenge and see how I go, but also see how others approach it. So on the Facebook group, feel free to check it out yourself. You can scroll down. There's tens, if not hundreds, of submissions there, and one is cooler than the other, and the styles range from something super cartoony to something very realistic and everything in between. So it's just a very, very fun thing to watch every month if you're not participating. But I think I'm going to participate more often and just get into the habit of doing a character or an illustration like that once a month. I think it's just super beneficial to do, and that's about all I wanted to say about that. So again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you can enjoy the rest of the day. Don't forget to hit the like, maybe even leave a comment. You can ask me anything, of course, in the comments down below, and make sure to check out the other videos as well. There's some cool content, and I've got some amazing content, I think, planned. It's just gonna take a little while longer, I think, to get it on here, but it is coming. Okay, thank you so much again, and have a great day.